Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coach's Playbook with Paul LaPolice, your home for elite CFL breakdown and analysis. Today, Calgary, Winnipeg last week, 41-37, an amazing football game. I'm going to look at Calgary's offense. I got about 15 clips. Let's go ahead and open the playbook on the Calgary Stampeders. Please subscribe to the page. Turn notifications on. It's going to alert you as we're posting new things, and we're trying to post stuff as much as we can. The other thing is I've just kind of gone out and gotten a new desktop and some new software because sometimes recording over the game video and trying to record that and bring that up has kind of created some lag and everything. So we have none of that, so I'm really excited. Pulled 15 clips of Calgary's game. I'm breaking them down for the next couple weeks because I'll be doing color in a couple weeks of them. So I wanted to kind of make sure I have a good understanding of what they're doing. All right, Jake Maier, 20 of 31, 65% completion, 316 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, but he also had 2 interceptions. So that's what, one of the things that hurts them in that loss. Clark Barnes had a really nice night, 5 catches, 80 yards. And Dedrick Mills, 15 carries, 131 yards. Really excellent game. But in a back-and-forth game, you can't have – I think Calgary had 3 turnovers. Winnipeg only had 2. You just can't lose the turnover margin. But there's a lot of good things from Calgary's offense. So let's take a look at Calgary's own. Okay, let's get this started. Really excited to do this. So got a way better way to watch the film here. So this is what's going to happen from a film standpoint. They're going to run a clear out, a curl. The tailback's going to be the flat player, and they're going to bring a player here as a check down, and then this. Come on. Sometimes this guy's hard to get out of there, and we're going to have. So the quarterback is looking to his left, and this is what's called this is a horizontal stretch or a triangle read, and he is a number 1, 2, 3 read. There's number 1. There's number 2, there's number 3. And if you notice, those 3 make a triangle. And then he progresses back from there. So if you look at this, and I'm going to pause it as we go, everybody works to the boundary. That's covered. That's covered. And then they run over to his first check down. So there's your triangle. Everybody's covered. Watch what he does. He flips his hips. He finds the backside route. And this is good. Start the game, goes all the way through his progression, and gets Philpott on the backside, the farthest receiver away from where he started with his eyes. This is really good. Good start for Jake Maier. Right here. Nobody open. Bang. It went right here to Wilson. Nobody open. Flips his hips. Nice. Big gain here on the first play. So really good execution on the first play. Next, we have an interception. So I'll show you, I'll draw up what they're doing, then we'll play the live, and then we will go ahead and go through what happened, why this was an interception. You have a clear out. You have a player benching it to the sideline, and you have a player in the flat. So this is what I would call a flood route or a vertical stretch. And what a vertical stretch for me is, we have 1, 2, 3 people flooding a zone. And they're flooding it vertically, if that makes sense. So what happens here, and we'll play it live, Terrell Ford comes off and makes a great interception with a big return here. So how does this happen? Where's, it's a great read by the DB. It's a little bit of both. So good execution by Ford here, who's having a great season. But let me go and show you what happens. So right here, I'm going to pause it. The job of the outside player is he's supposed to go as deep as he can to get the corner as high with him. And then when he breaks out into the flat, there's nobody in that space. Now, there's a timing issue and a spacing issue. So right now, Marquette Michel is higher than the vertical route. That can't happen because that keeps the corner low. So when the corner is at the same level as this outbreaking route, the quarterback just can't throw this ball. He's got to see that the defender is in a position to play both routes, and that's what happens. So he sees it thrown, and then he goes, all right, I'm going to drive this because nobody's throwing that. You have to get the corner higher, and how you do that is let him go with a waggle, let him start with the waggle, or he has to slow down. So, Jake just trusts that he's going to keep running, and he doesn't because they're at the same level. So Jake should either come down to this one or keep coming across. So good play by Terrell Ford here, and just got to get his eyes and see that guy at the same level and not throw it. I want to show you why quarterbacks and receivers sometimes are on the wrong page. Sometimes you see receiver do one thing, quarterback do another. So on this one right here, I want you to watch right here. So this is a deep throw in a post to Reggie Bagleton. He goes to one spot and it's thrown at another. So sometimes quarterbacks and receivers just have to do stuff downfield. And I'm going to show you. This is a post by Reggie Bagleton. So right here, he's trying to decide, okay, do I go in or over the top? And if you watch right here, he goes underneath. But the ball is up here. So Jake has already thrown it. And right here, Jake made a determination before I throw it that on a post play with that player that far inside, he should have gone over the top. So some people coach it that way. Like I usually coach on a post route. If that player is underneath you or inside you and going to collapse your post, what I mean by collapse is bring it down, stick your right foot in the ground and then go right over the top of them. And the quarterback should see you hit your right foot in the ground and throw it over the top. So I like where Jake throws this ball. I think Jake thought exactly what was going to happen is bang, right here, he foot presses, and then he's going right over the top, and Jake threw it that way because you don't want to throw the post down like that. So there is some thought process on this. I'm sure they talk back at the end of the series, say, yeah, I should have gone over the top of that one. I wasn't sure. They weren't on the same page on how that would played out. So that's why sometimes you get guys downfield and one looks one way and one looks the other. You can see it from this angle. Right here. All right, so do I want to go that way on my angle? Nah, I want to put my foot in the ground right here, tell the quarterback, and I go as high as I can. Right there. I would have gone foot press right there and over the top, and I think that's where Jake thought the ball was going to go. This next one is one of Calgary's staples, and we're going to talk about pressure. Let's pause it right here when the ball is snapped and go over what pressure means. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players blitzing. Okay, blitzing means they're crossing the line of scrimmage, and that means there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 protectors, all right, of the deep area. And there's no help behind them. So that's called cover zero. Cover zero is a blitz coverage. They're playing man-to-man. And let's show you what Calgary loves to run. They run here and they run a corner route. It's called the corner because it goes to the corner of the end zone. And then he's going to go up and then he's going to go in. So if this player runs in with him and this player tries to get out, there's a natural pick, which you see right there. So he stayed with him. Now he has to bubble over the top and opens up this throw. So what happens here is Jake has to throw it under duress. It's a little short because of the pressure, but this is pretty good execution on the rub play. They just kind of missed the throw, and you'll see it from the end zone. So here comes the pressure. Now, when this pressure is picked up, everyone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the 7th rusher. And they did it right because he's farthest away from the quarterback. So he's just got to get ready to throw. He takes his drop and throws it, just misses his throw a little bit. Good execution up front, picking up the pressure, just a little bit off on the throw. You're going to see the exact same play we just watched before from a 2x3 set. Again, 2x3, what does that mean? There's 2 receivers to the field, there's 3 to the boundary. The next point for the quarterback, he should be recognizing, wait a minute, with 2 receivers to the field, they have all these players over here. Usually when the strong side linebacker stays to the wide side of the field, something's happening. It's definitely zone or they're going to pressure, and that's what happens. Cramdy comes off the edge, and Winnipeg does a good job here. So the same play. There's a corner route. He ends up taking the inside. I think they read it, and he runs out. But watch, when Jake's here, he sees that player inside. These 2 are doubling that one, so now he has to progress. And one of the things Jake has done a really good job is using his legs this year. So good defense by Winnipeg, but Jake just, with a 3-man rush, he's got time to move. Clark Barnes breaks it down for him, gives him an outlet throw. Calgary did a good job hitting their checkdowns and recognizing when the coverage dictates. I'll show you this quick completion. Reggie Bagel gets north-south. So how does this play out? This is a play they've already run. I like Calgary ran some of the same plays multiple times. First clip we talked about was a curl with the back in the flat. This is what you call a curl slide read, and this player came in, and he was the check down over here. So watch the coverage, what happens here. They're in what I would call some type of match where there is 3 people over here, and there is 4 over these. You basically have 5 over these 4. And what happens is, once on the curl aspect of it, you got people covered. He's here. All right. He's outside of that one. But what happens is when that player goes out, he's going to take that one. He has to take the inside breaking route. And the will linebacker just gets a little too wide. So that gives the free access. You can see it from behind. Okay. Jake recognized immediately that he pushes too far with the back. And now this huge entire space is left open. And really good by Reggie Bacon can get north-south. Good execution. I love the fact that sometimes Jake gets the ball out of his hand really quickly. And you do that against good defensive linemen. So here's the throw. We'll break down why this happened so quickly. He doesn't even take a drop. Let's break down the route, first of all. You've got a lot of teams run this into the boundary like an 8-yard curl and a player out into the flat. And it just happens really quickly. But why does Jake not even read this? Because there's 1 player here, there's 2 players here, and 3 players here. So technically you're in a 3-by-1 set with 2 players in the backfield. So when they keep 3 over this side of the field, they're going to be soft on this side. And what do you have? And you just have a couple of hitches out here. You have a hitch here, a hitch here, a hitch here, and you see everybody's off at 9 to 10 yards. So Jake recognizes that immediately, changes his drop, throws the hitch. Nice. You can get a lot of first downs doing that. And you watch it from the back. He didn't even look to his left. He immediately flips his hips and goes, I'm going to throw to this space because I know there's nobody over here. There's nobody on that side of the field. Nice. Big touchdown here by Eric Brooks. So sometimes when you're in all these zone coverages, this is a zone coverage, but some of the people to the wide side of the field, it turns into man. And they take a shot, beautiful throw by Jake, and Eric Brooks, great catch. So what are they doing? It's just a double move. So you're going to have 2 routes to the field. Up here, breaking in on a dig. A lot of teams run an 8-yard in, and then he starts to run the in, and then he just takes off. The key to this is you dig in and really go with speed. Once you break in, just get his feet moved, and great throw by Jake. So great execution on the double move to the field corner. And the one thing on field corners, I learned this from Danny McManus, the field corners have so much depth, they're looking into the backfield. So you can take shots on the field corners better. On this one, we're going to see what is basically a match beater. Match is a combination zone man coverage that Winnipeg plays, and I call these middle plays. And they're trying to get a play in the middle of the field. So I'll show you what they're. Here's the throw, and then I'll break it down. So it's almost picked. Brandon Alexander does a really good job of watching the quarterback's eyes and drifting to where the ball is going to be thrown. But let me show you what they're trying to do. You got to the field here. You have a player going to run a post. He's trying to cancel out anybody on that side of the field. And then this player is going to do the same thing, and he's going to cancel out anything on that. And their job is to bend anybody down. Anybody who goes, if you can get them to bend low and come out of the way, go ahead, get them out of there. And then this receiver is going to break underneath, let those people push him deep, and then he's going to go to the middle of the field. So hopefully people expand, and then you can throw the ball in the middle of the field. So you can see it starting to develop right there. He's trying to cancel that space. He's trying to cancel that player. And then he shows up in between the two. But Brandon Alexander does a good job getting underneath it, recognizing the route, and making a play. This has got to be a little bit of a combination coverage because Terrell Ford, he chases and plays man. I think it's zone with Terrell Ford man-to-man because he stays in on them. But this is pretty good execution of a middle play, but Brandon Alexander just gets underneath it. Got to put a little bit more air on it if you got a chance. You can see it here. See him starting to work over, and the go. Really good match beater here by the Calgary Stampeders. And I'll put a link to our match. We do a breakdown of match coverage and explain it. So I'll show you this pass, and then we'll come back and talk about it a little bit. So big opening, big throw. Let me pause it before. So the story I want to tell you is there's 4 people here, and they're covering those 3. What else can I tell you is you also have somebody, this player is taking anybody who breaks inside, and he's going to pick them up man-to-man. Over this side of the field, you have 3 people on those 2, and once the back adds, he adds into it. So the problem with this coverage is if you send everybody in the same direction. So he's going to go up here and run a post. Well, he's inside the post, he's outside the post. That's what you want in match. We have a player running in. Well, because the middle of the field is wide open, because the linebackers have all left to cover, this player has to pick him up man-to-man. So the weakness of this defense is this. If you send a guy out and then back in, this player has to recognize that, and he has to take him. So he's the secondary, he's called the secondary waller. And he just gets caught up. He doesn't understand. How does he know what to do? Once he sees that player go inside, that player going deep, there's already 2 people for the deep route. He should be going, all right, what's this guy doing? Once he drives, he should go inside with him. A little bit of hesitation. Really good match beater here to put them in a good position downfield. We have a big scramble on this play right here, and Jake's added that to his game. Really good coverage by the Bombers, but sometimes protection will break down. So you basically have this, a dig, a corner route, and another guy coming underneath, and I believe he's just vertical. So you're trying to throw this dig in the middle of the field, and if the linebackers jump these crossing routes, you can throw it. If everybody gets depth, you're trying to find one of the crossing routes. But Jake gets pushed to the right. He starts to scramble, keeps coming back, and then they just lose sight of Reggie Bagleton. And anytime you get a player like that in a lot of space, he's going to make people miss. So you can see it from the end zone. He's starting to look, trying to find the dig. And then I'm not sure, he's kind of running back with the crossing routes. The linebackers do a great job with the crossing routes, but then they lose contain. He gets it out to Reggie. So it's been a good add to the game for Jake this year. All right, we got a breakdown here. This is our last one. This is a play a lot of teams in the CFL are running. Love this concept. All right, let me get you sorted out on the coverage first. How people are playing it. Man, free safety, but there's a receiver in the backfield. Okay, Sam's on the tailback. Is the tailback left? Everybody's man across the board. The next thing I want to show you is the linebackers. What are those 2 linebackers doing? They are just waiting at the line of scrimmage. They're waiting for crossing routes because CFL teams at the goal line run a lot of crossers. But here's the touchdown on a live shot. Jake with a nice throw to the sideline. Let's break down what this concept is and why it's hard to defend. So Mark and Michelle, you can see him running with a good waggle. Now, only 2 routes get run here. You can run a post, and you're going to run a corner route. It's called the post because you go to the goal post. It's called the corner route, go quarter in the end zone. And it's not the only routes, but these are the high priority routes. So Dietrich Nichols has got to back up and play one of them. And watch, he already opened his hips to cover the post. He thinks the post is coming. Well, what Michelle did a good job is pushing him to that spot, but then he benches it to the sideline. So all the quarterback has to do on that play is just read this corner. If that corner went this direction, there's nobody underneath it, and Dietrich Nichols should be too high, and that's what happens. So if you play it back, watch the corner. He runs inside. Dietrich Nichols to the side is too high. You just throw it to the sideline. That's the completion. Good timing. This is a good throw by Calgary. This is a lot of good things from this Calgary offense. And I think Winnipeg did a good job too, but Calgary's getting better and better every week. It's a good response for Jake Mayer and things to build on for this Calgary Stampeders offense. So this is a lot of fun.